Okay, here we are. RAF Duxford flying the P-51 North American Aviation P-51A, made by Aeroplane Heaven. We're parked at the ramp at Duxford. If you don't know where Duxford is, where the Imperial War Museum is, outside of, about 8 miles outside of Cambridge. Was used extensively during the Battle of Britain. Spitfires. Later on, P-47s moved in from the American Army Air Corps, and eventually P-51s in 1944 did move into Duxford, so there's a little bit of historical significance here. There it is. There's France, there's England. So the P-51 does have a history there. You can see the runways, we'll be using 24 left. It's 4,900 feet of asphalt. The other right runway is grass strip. If you ever go to Duxford, there's I think the EGSU is the identifier, but it is one of the sites of the Imperial War Museum. It's got the large aircraft there, which you'll see on the ramp as we fly around. Had to buy a enhancement to Duxford to get it from Chico something, and download it and insert it. That makes it kind of cool, a little more detail. The plan is to fly so 112 elevation for the runway, so 1,000 feet would be 1,112. I'm going to fly a 1,000-foot pattern. What I want to do is taxi out, start engines, taxi out to 24 left, to a left crosswind, to a left downwind, to a left dog leg, fly up initial at 1,000 feet, 200 something knots, do a left brake midfield, get configured, come off the perch at around 130 knots, fly 130 knot final turn, and we'll do a touch and go to a closed pattern and do the same thing. Let's see how I do. Don't have any external gauges on, so I'll be using the gauges strictly in the cockpit. You got to be real careful with the lag on the magnetic compass. It's kind of difficult sometimes to tell what heading you're doing. You have to roll out and kind of gauge it from there. All right, using this inspection checklist, fuel quantity check, about 40. Take it off. Flight controls check, free and clear. All right, I'm going to use the outside view rather than turn my head around. Right aileron, elevator, right rudder, left rudder. Flight controls are checked. Parking brake set. I always cycle the parking brakes. If you take a look, it's just a little handle there. That's released, set. All right, so that's the starting engines checklist is complete. And this is the starting engines. That was before starting. Magnetos off. They are, for the moment, off. Battery switch on. On. Alternator on, which is the generator. Alternator is on. On. Throttle open 1 inch. That's about an inch. Who knows? 1 inch. Mixture idle cutoff. Idle cutoff. You see it yourself, but I'm going to tell you, it won't start in idle cutoff. I'm going to have to move that up, so I'm going to do it now. Mixture all the way up. Just my experience practicing this last couple times. I am not the best P-51 pilot. No, the best pilot. I am an airline pilot who's retiring in September. I'm 185 years old. I was an Air Force instructor pilot and flew T-37s and tankers. A lot of hours, but not much in the simulator. Carburetor heat is normal. Carburetor heat is normal. Fuel selector, left main tank, left main tank. Fuel boost pump on. And let's get this out of the way. There's boost pump. It's on. Fuel pressure check. Fuel pressure. Oops, can't see it, can I? Pressure's checked. Fuel primer. 3 to 4 seconds. Start on. Magnetos both. Okay. I am going to move magnetos to both now. I think that's out of order. My experience was that it didn't start without the magnetos in both. Mixture, I've already put it in run. Oil pressure check. We'll check that when we do this. Okay, so we'll do after starting after this, okay? So here we go. We are going to prime it, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, and start it. Ah, nice, right? All right, back to the checklist. After starting engines, fuse selector left main. I think it's still in left main. Yes, it is. Prop lever max RPM. It should already be a max RPM. Max RPM. Parking brake release. We'll do that later because we have a very short taxi out. We're going to go up here to the left, take the narrow taxiway to 24 left, using all differential braking. For takeoff, rudder trim right. We'll do that here. Rudder trim. We want us to do it full right. It's basically 5 degrees right. That's pretty much 5, right? Rudder trim. Elevator. Looks like 6 up. It's about 6 up. Ailerons are neutral. They are neutral. Although we're going to need a little right aileron. Flight controls. Check. View quantity check. It's good. Just for pattern work. Fuse selector left main tank again. Left main tank. Alternator on. It should still be on. It's on. Mixture run. Should still be run. It's run. Prop lever max RPM. We'll do that. And then max RPM. There it is. All right. That's the check is complete. Flaps are going to be at 20. Take a look out here. Flaps 20. Alright. Gotta be honest, don't really know where the flap gauge is on this thing. Let me see. Turn the lights on. See if we can find some flaps here. Coolant. Nope. Nope. Doesn't really tell me, does it? Nope. That looks a little more than 20. I'm going to bring them up just a little bit. That looks about 20. And throttle full. Alright, so I'll be using manifold pressure here. Takeoff somewhere around, probably around a little over 40 on this runway. Make sure I get back around 30. My plan here is I'm going to turn crosswind. Remember, I'm using only the instruments available. I have no external instruments attached for this particular one. So there's a lot of lag. Most of the turns are done, gentle turns onto crosswind and downwind, but 30 degrees of bank. But in a fighter type, you usually do 60-degree bank turns because the idea is to roll out and clear, make sure there's no other traffic, minimize the time. We'll do a crosswind turn about a 330, get out far enough on downwind, then we'll do a reciprocal heading 060 for downwind, try to turn base enough to be able to put a dog leg in and come down initial at 1,000 foot, 220 knots or so, to a left-hand brake, get the gear down below 175, flaps below 150, come off the perch at 130, do a touch and go, and then come into a close pattern to a full stop. Let's see how that goes. All right. We'd actually obviously request permission to taxi. We'll say it's uncontrolled. Looking over at the windsock here, it's showing basically calm. Parking brakes are off. Right on the brakes. Rolling. It's definitely a lot of differential brake involved with taxiing this bad boy. I'm using a lot of left brake here. Narrow taxiway. Checking final. We'll say it's uncontrolled. Checking downwind, crosswind, initial overhead. No one appears to be here. I did a lot of S-turns in these tail draggers to be able to see. A lot of right brake here. We'd hold short, but it's uncontrolled airfield right now. We'll assume we're going on. I'd make a announcement over Common Freak, let everyone know I was taking the runway. Runway 24 finals clear. Differential braking. If you don't have rudder pedals, you're going to have a tough time taxiing this P-51 because you need a lot of differential brakes. I'm going to get lined up on 24 left. Give myself a 240 heading there. There we go. 240 heading. Bring the throttles up. A little bit of right brake, tap that right brake. Slowly bringing the power in. Feeding in right aileron, a little more rudder. Remember, we got all that rudder trim in. There's 30 on the manifold pressure. Trying to maintain center line. 40, as the nose comes down, these little backstick keep the prop from digging in. Here's 40. Wait, I'm going to lift off at about 100. Get the gear up. Try to maintain runway center line. Very bad job there. 130, flaps coming all the way up. They're up. All right, gear is up, flaps up. And I'm going to bring the power back so we don't overheat the engine. It's about 35 for now. All right, so it's a 240 was runway heading. We're going to come left about 90 degrees, turn crosswind. There's a lot of lag in the heading select. I mean, should be maintained 1,000 AFL, which is 1,112 feet. About a good crosswind heading. A little high, I'm trimming. Airspeed's around 270. Get myself nice and wide on downwind here. Naturally be making radio calls. The pattern, we're clearing. Let's go to a 060 heading. That'll be a good no wind, downwind heading. And I'm a little high, I'm 100 feet high. Trying to descend back down to 1,112. There it is. Trying to get a good level sight picture. It's like that manifold on the horizon is pretty close. A lot of lag in the heading. It's pretty well trimmed up. Let's see how this looks. We'll roll out. Yeah, it's pretty good. One of my better ones. All right. Now that we're rolled out that manifold, that nose a little below the horizon for level flight, trying to get trimmed up, hands off. Field's out there at our 9 o'clock. I'm going to come out a little ways, give myself a fighting chance to come down initial at 1,000 feet. Naturally, you're always calling out your position as you turn clearing as you make your turn to initial. Really fighting to maintain that 1,112, 1,000 feet AFL. Try to fly precisely, always. Trimming. All right, we'll say that this is a good crosswind. Don't have any landmarks. 60-degree bank turn, nose a little above the horizon as you turn. Now a good base leg, probably right about in there. 330, yeah. And I see the field out there at my 10 o'clock. Maintaining my altitude. Dog leg about a 285 heading. 1, 2. See how that looks. Pretty close, right? We're a little low. We're clearing off to the right, clearing above. Trying to make sure that no one else has got the same plan as we do. I'm going to make my turn on initial. To be honest with you, I definitely could have stayed on the base leg a little longer. This is a very tight initial turn. 1,112 feet. Yeah. Nice. Little low. All right. Get up to 1,112. We're doing around 220. It's in miles per hour, by the way, on the P-51. All those old warbirds were miles per hour. I'm going to wait till midfield break. Up or a little bit right. That's cheating, isn't it? So we're going to come over. Make sure we're here. We're clearing downwind. The closed downwind, which is the inside pattern. I'm going to wait till we're midfield. There's a war museum off our bottom right. All right, I'm going to bring the power back. About 10. Turn, 2G turn, 60 degrees of bank. Nose slightly above the horizon. Descending slightly. Put my gear down. Stop the descent. Power in. That was not a good level turn. All right. Flaps coming down. Below 150. Full flaps. Start rolling off the perch. Try to do about 130 miles per hour in the turn. A little slow. Power coming up. Shallow out the turn. Banking it up. Overshot. Slow to 110. Don't ever be afraid to go around. Try to cross the threshold about 110. Landing assured. Power coming in. Gear up. 110 knots. I'm bringing the flaps up. Flaps are up. Gears up. All right. Now we're going to do a close pattern. There's 180 miles per hour. 60 degrees of bank. Pulling it on up. .060, no wind heading. 200, bringing the throttles back, a little abrupt. Back to 060, gear down, below 175. Below 150, flaps coming full. Here, flaps are down. Here's 1,100 feet. Roll off the perch. 130 miles an hour on the turn. Definitely set up a lot better on this one. Now, you did a tight pattern, so you pretty much have to do 30 to 45 degrees of bank coming around here. Under 30 knots. Wow. Really bad job. Really bad job. But easy on the brakes. Looking for center line. Tapping the brakes. Differential braking all the way down. Small inputs. Down as you slow. Come to a full stop on the runway. It's the War Museum over there. Want to take a little look at the War Museum? All right. I think we do. Duxford. Not happy with those final turns. It's hard to do. I don't have free vision set up. It's hard to see where you are, especially just using the gauges here. There's a lot of differential braking here. That's all I'm doing. A lot of right brake to make that turn. That's the War Museum up there. They've got a bunch of old vintage larger aircraft parked outside. Now, evidently, the guys would do a lot of S-turning here. See where they were going. All differential brakes. Does have a little bit of tail wheel steering. Sit up a little. This is Duxford. I got a tank over there. That's cool. Trying to see where I'm going. Yeah, altitude control, a little bit of airspeed problems, overshooting. None of that stuff is good. But I'm learning to fly this thing. If you look in the War Museum over here, I'm sure there's aircraft parked in there. Some of the old heavier aircraft out here. Tour the ramp at the Imperial War Museum in Duxford. Was kind of hoping they'd have a Hurricane out here or a P-51 or something else, but it looks like they're probably all inside. Last turn. We'll go over here and shut down. Hello, guy up there in the fire station. Try to do this as authentically as possible, not using any aids, modern day aids. I'll try it again soon. All right, let's go over here and shut down. Let's see how we do this. I think we started somewhere up in here. Just a short little taxi. Right about in this spot, I think. All right, brakes are set. And we'll run a shutdown checklist. All right, we'll assume the climb is all done, right? We got the gear up, flaps up. Landing. Didn't do any of that, did we? After landing. Flaps up. Shut down. Parking brake set. It's set. Fuel boost pump off. Fuel boost pump is off. Prop lever, max RPM. We haven't really changed anything. That's max RPM. Throttle adjust to 1500 RPM. And then go mixture idle cutoff. Okay. So we're going to do that. We're going to go throttle to 1500, mixture idle cutoff, then throttle full. Okay, let's try that. Throttle. Then throttle's full. Magneto's off. All electrical equipment off. Landing lights are off. Alternator and battery off. And there you have it. Not my best work, but that was a lot of fun.